In this lesson, I'm going to show you how you can influence your sound and create your own sound by what arpeggios you use in any context. The example of this lesson is blues, but this can be, it's the same for every type of music or any style of music. And it really comes down to, once you start using the insights I'm going to give you in this video, then you start messing around with using different arpeggios that produces different sounds. And some of these sounds you really like. And so you play more of those sounds / arpeggios. And that becomes the definition, the audible definition of how you sound when you play, when it comes to the notes anyway. So this is really highly valuable. And as I said, we're going to use the blues as our example here. And what we're doing here is really focusing. You remember the first lesson? We talked about a melody being a concept of walking from chord note to chord note. We pick a note that's already in the music, in the chord in the background, and then we walk from that to another chord note, passing over several or one scale notes that is not in the actual chord in the background. That's how to create melody. That's how to harmonize a melody. We just do it in the opposite way, the other way around. And so the arpeggio we choose can also define what notes we are focusing on. And I don't have to use the arpeggio of the chord in the background. That's the cool thing about it. So let's say you have, like in the blues, you have an E dominant 7 running in the background, right? And the natural choice is to use the arpeggio of the chord, which would be the E dominant 7th. Those are the notes of the chord. And I could mix those with the blues scale. Since I'm playing blues, I would play the E blues scale, my trusted first position E blues scale in the 12th fret. And then I could mix it with the notes of that arpeggio, that E major dominant 7th arpeggio, right? Look in the charts. And so now I'm using blues scale, going into the arpeggio, back to the blues scale, arpeggio, first blues scale, and then sliding up to the arpeggio note. Arpeggio. Oh, that was not the arpeggio. Notes of the chord in the background. Blues scale. Arpeggio. Chromatically tying in two different notes of the arpeggio. Blues scale. Arpeggio. It works in the most amazing way, right? Really creates a cool sound. So that's a cool idea, but everybody does that. So let's change the arpeggio. Because if you change the arpeggio, if you're really good at using any arpeggio with the notes of the scale, going back and forth between the scale notes and the arpeggio notes, creating really cool lines, then all you need to do is change the arpeggios to make you focus on different notes. So let's say instead of using the E major arpeggio, the E dominant 7th arpeggio, let's use the E diminished arpeggio. Look in the charts again, just to mark that out across the scale shape here. So let's play the same E dominant 7th again in the background, and I can use my old blues scale again. Let's use that, right? But then I also play the E diminished arpeggio, which sounds really wacky. Right? But I'm going to mix it with the blues scale. Right? So that gives me suddenly a new sound. because the diminished arpeggio is not all the notes in the chord in the background. So I'm going to play things that sounds like tension, and I'm going to focus on that tension, because the notes of the diminished arpeggio, we got the root note of E, then we got the minor third, where we have the major third in the chord in the background. Right, then we got all kinds of stuff going around here. We got the flat fifth of the E. It's a mess, right? But that's what creates the spicy sound. So when I use that and go in and out of my diminished arpeggio and the blues scale, I get that wacky sound. Then I can use the dominant seventh arpeggio as well, and create some. Right. So let's say I'm using the blues scale. Right? Then I'm using the dominant seventh arpeggio, which is the home bass, the notes in the background. Right? And then I have my diminished arpeggio as well, and I go back and forth between using the blues scale with the dominant seventh arpeggio and blues scale with the diminished arpeggio. Oh, right? That's the diminished. And then I have my dominant seventh arpeggio. Right, and then back to the blues scale. Diminished. Or how about using the diminished with the dominant seventh? Right? So I get infinite possibilities here. I'm using the same notes, basically. Right? So I have the same notes of the scale, and basically those fundamental notes are the notes of the blues scale, and then I use the Dorian notes as well. E Dorian minor, which is a scale that you can use on top of that blues scale. E Dorian minor, which would be the same as the D major scale. If you lay those notes out on top of the blues scale, then what I'm doing here is basically just using those notes to create the diminished arpeggio. The diminished arpeggio can be derived from the notes of the blues scale and the E Dorian minor. I know I'm venturing into other concepts here, but it's the same concept as with the diatonic, the major minor scale. You take those notes and you arrange them into an arpeggio. You pick different notes out, right? And in the first video and the second, we talked about that you pick out the notes of the chord in the background. That's how you create a melody. Now we mess with that concept and take out different notes than the chord in the background. Some are the same, but some are also different. And that makes us focus on notes that has tension in them. It's a genius system that allows you to first learn to walk from chord note to chord note and play really nice melodies. And then you mess with it by playing arpeggios that doesn't fit 100% the chord in the background. And that allows you to tweak your sound and get a focus on the ninth or the flat fifth of that chord. And that gives you just immense opportunity and possibilities of influencing your sound in a very structured, very specific way, where you can pick and choose what kind of sound you like. I know this opens up the door to an immense amount of complexity, but then, if I got a lot of chords in the background, what arpeggios do I choose for each chord? And how does that look on the fretboard? But be still, because there is a solution to that. Because there are some things we do over, all the time. There are some things I do all the time because that's my favorite combination of chord and arpeggio. And it really looks in a lot less complex way once you get into it. But what I'd like you to do just for this lesson is take the scale shape that you can see in the charts, the first position minor blues, and then combine it with the diminished and go back and forth between playing a couple of notes from the blues scale, then going into the arpeggio for a couple of notes, and then back to the blues scale. Experiment with it and really spend some time with it. Don't judge it too fast. Really, what does he mean? Oh, that sounded really... That's something I can play in the blues scale. Let's just take a couple of notes from the diminished arpeggio. Okay. Oh, that sounded really interesting. Let's try the dominant. And please, if you don't have a looper pedal, get one right away. The cheapest looper pedal will work because it's not about quality of sound. It's about you having the ability to say, okay, there's an E dominant 7th in the background, E7, right? And then I can... Because music is always about you playing something and then there's something else in the background, so you want that looper pedal. So have fun with it and limit yourself to just a couple of strings, just a little precision. The main thing is to get it in your body, get the experience of it, so you can really feel the power of this and how a simple few concepts can really, get your sound opened up or have you focus on different notes that you wouldn't otherwise have focused on. So I hope this was valuable to you. You might also want to go check out the new course available right now, the Triads program, which really goes to great depth when it comes to these concepts and gives you everything you need to know about arpeggios so you can really get to the point of mastery where this is effortless. But for now, focus on this exercise. Do it right now. If you have 5 minutes, no excuse, do it right now. Look at the charts, start having some fun.